It's FM23 League Lowdown time once more, and for this video we're heading to one of Europe's big 5 leagues and to Germany to check out the champions, the challengers, the sleeping giants and all the clubs with a story that might make this the ideal nation for your next FM23 adventure. So a save in Germany in FM23 is going to offer you 3 playable tiers to select your club from the 18-team top-flight Bundesliga down to the 18-club second tier known as Bundesliga 2, or you could start out in the basement with the 20-team 3-Liga and try and make your way to the top flight. But if you're trying to decide which club in Germany might form the basis of your next FM23 adventure, let's introduce you to some of the clubs. Starting with the champions. The champions of Germany are, of course, Bayern Munich, and despite a difficult start to their season in real life, they are in hot pursuit of their 11th successive Bundesliga title. They have a glittering collection of trophies from 20 German Cups, a Europa League, 2 UEFA Super Cups, 32 Bundesliga titles, a record for the nation, as well as 1 European Cup Winners' Cup and 2 World Club Championships. If you're attracted to the idea of taking over this giant of European football but would like to inject a little bit of greater challenge into it, you could always make it a youth-only save, and with some success, I would guess, as they boast superb training facilities, superb youth facilities, good academy coaching, and excellent youth recruitment. And perhaps you could try and win Bayern a Bundesliga title, relying solely on your youth intakes as you try to create the next Thomas Muller. Or perhaps you could try and make your save with Bayern more challenging by injecting a Champions League target that you're going to try and achieve. Real Madrid currently lead Europe with 14 Champions League or European Cup victories, while Bayern Munich have 6. Maybe your goal as you guide Bayern through the seasons could be to try and overtake Real Madrid as Europe's most successful side. Or perhaps you would prefer to take over one of the clubs that dreams of dethroning Bayern at the top of the table. Well, who better than their declassic rivals Borussia Dortmund? Dortmund can boast a talented squad that contains the likes of English midfielder Jude Bellingham, German starlet Karim Adeyemi, and one of the hottest young talents in the game in the form of Youssoufa Moukoko. A job at Dortmund would offer you the opportunity to take over a genuinely huge club you could manage in front of the yellow wall in a stadium that holds over 81,000 supporters, but also a club that boasts some superb facilities, with their training and youth facilities being ranked at just that. And they also possess good academy coaching and excellent youth recruitment as well. But it's adding to their haul of trophies that makes this club an interesting save proposition. Currently, they've won just 5 German Cups and 8 Bundesliga titles, the last 2 achieved in 2011 and 2012 under the stewardship of Jurgen Klopp. And compared to their rivals from Munich, this is a club that yearns for greater European success, with just 1 European Cup Winners' Cup and a sole Champions League victory when they defeated Juventus in the final in 1997. In terms of reputation, Dortmund are arguably Germany's second biggest side, but there are other clubs that are pushing Munich for the title this season. How about taking over one of the surprise packages of recent seasons, Union Berlin, a club that before reunification in the early 90s was actually competing in the East German League system without distinction, in all honesty, whilst clubs such as Dynamo, Dresden, Magdeburg and Hansa Rostock all won the East German League. Union Berlin were more of a yo-yo club bouncing between the top 2 divisions. Before the formation of the Bundesliga in the 1960s, Union were runners-up in the national championship. This is a club that's still waiting for a major trophy since rejoining the German league system, although they were the defeated finalists when they lost to Schalke in the 2001 Cup final. Union are an upwardly mobile club that would offer you European football as well as a hotly contested derby against local rivals Hertha, but they would also provide you with one other challenge as well. Since reunification, no club from the former east of Germany have been crowned Bundesliga winners. In a race against time, could you achieve this feat before RB Leipzig do the same? And it's to Leipzig where we travel next, to a young club only formed in 2009, but one who last season celebrated their first domestic honour when they were victorious in the German Cup final. However, Leipzig were nearly not based in this city at all. The energy drinks giant that backs the team first of all looked at taking over St. Pauli, Fortuna Dusseldorf and 1860 Munich before eventually deciding to found a team in Germany's regional leagues, where they've risen through the years. It's been a swift ascent through the leagues for Leipzig, and since joining the Bundesliga in 2016, they've not finished outside the top 6. Taking over this club would offer you the chance to manage some prodigious talent, including wonder kids like Vardiol, forward talent such as Christopher Nkunku, and international striker Timo Werner. Leipzig have climbed from the 5th tier to the 1st remarkably quickly and have already secured a first major honour, but they are hungry and ambitious, and it is a Bundesliga title that they want. But are you the manager that can deliver it? If you like the idea of taking over a challenger, but one who, like Leipzig, are yet to win the Bundesliga, then Bayer Leverkusen are another option. They were founded by pharmaceutical workers from the city's major employer, and they are somewhat of an oddity in that they have won a European title without winning their own domestic league. Leverkusen triumphed in the 1988 UEFA Cup final when they beat Spain's Espanyol on penalties. But they experienced European heartbreak in 2002 when a Zidane-inspired Real Madrid beat them in the Champions League final. Aside from that UEFA Cup final win, a solitary German Pokal is their only other major honour, yet this is a huge club and one that has some impressive facilities with excellent training facilities, excellent youth facilities, good academy coaching, and a reputation for producing some superb talent. But perhaps rather than a top-flight challenger, you would prefer just a top-flight challenge, and Hertha Berlin are certainly a club that would provide you with that. They only survived in the Bundesliga last season thanks to a play-out victory over Hamburg, and despite 2 national championships before the formation of the Bundesliga, a league that they were a founder member of, by the way, titles have been relatively difficult to come by for Hertha in the intervening years. Hertha's highest Bundesliga finish came in 1975 when they were runners-up to Mönchengladbach. But this is a club with the infrastructure needed to succeed, with excellent training facilities, great youth facilities, and good academy coaching and youth recruitment. But on the field, recent seasons have been unspectacular, and the club have settled into a pattern of being a lower table side. That is, of course, until you take over and guide them to glory. But maybe you fancy an even sterner test. Could you take over one of the Bundesliga's newly promoted clubs? Perhaps the club you might pick might be Dortmund's Ruhr Valley rival Schalke, a club that play in the 62,000 capacity Veltins Arena, and another side in Germany that have tasted domestic and European success. Schalke may be new to the league this season, but they are no strangers to trophies, with 5 German Cups and 7 Bundesliga titles, as well as the 1997 UEFA Cup, where they were victorious against Italian opponents Internazionale. Schalke spent just 1 season in Bundesliga 2 after almost 3 decades in the top flight, and as recently as 2018, they were runners-up behind Bayern, but now they're more of a project, and could you take charge of them, cement them as a Bundesliga club once more, before pushing for further domestic honours? Or perhaps you're in the market for a rebuild, and Germany certainly offers plenty of those, perhaps none greater than Hamburg, a club that lost out in the promotion playoffs to Hertha Berlin from the division above last season. Hertha, by the way, managed by Felix Magath, a man that scored the winning goal for Hamburg when they were crowned European champions in the early 80s. In addition to that 1983 European Cup victory, Hamburg have also won the European Cup Winners' Cup, as well as 6 Bundesligas and 3 German Cups. Hamburg were a Bundesliga founder and were an ever-present until 2018. They even marked this fact with a clock in the stadium counting the number of hours that they'd been a Bundesliga club. But in 2018, that clock stopped, and it's yet to be restarted. But for players of Football Manager, this provides the perfect challenge, the chance to take over a genuine sleeping giant, a club that has experienced huge success in the past, but is now embarking on its 5th successive campaign in the doldrums of Bundesliga 2. Could you take over the side, lead them to promotion, and then guide them back to the top of the German game? But if you're looking for a second-tier challenge at a club with more modest facilities but still a genuine rebuild, what about taking over former East German champions Magdeburg, a club who are the only East German side to ever win a European trophy when they won the 1974 Cup Winners' Cup. Aside from that Cup Winners' Cup victory over Milan from Italy, all of their other honours came in East German football. And upon German reunification, they entered the regional leagues, not reaching 3 Liga until 2015. But last season, they were promoted to Bundesliga 2 as champions, and you could take over and try and guide them to the top flight, where you could add to the number of clubs from the east of Germany competing in the top division. But if you would like your rebuild of a big side to start in Germany's 3rd tier, well, look no further than 1860 Munich, a club that hail from Germany's most successful footballing city, but very little of the silverware won has been contributed by 1860. However, when the inaugural season of the Bundesliga was played, it was 1860 that represented the city of Munich. And in addition to cup wins in the 40s and the 60s, they won the title in 1966. But 1860 are very much a club in the doldrums. They were relegated from Bundesliga 2 in 2017, and due to their finances, they failed to obtain a license for the 3 Liga and were demoted to the regional leagues. They fought their way back to the 3rd tier of German football. Now, could you take the helm and return them to the top and give Munich 2 teams that are both fighting for the title? But 1860 certainly aren't the only interesting challenge in Germany's 3rd division. Another might be Saarbrücken, a club from a region of Germany that's perched between Germany itself, France, and Luxembourg. In fact, Saarbrücken have competed in 3 different leagues during their history. They're currently in the German league system. They've also won the French 2nd division, as well as competing in their own regional championship. Saarbrücken may seem like a club with a trophy cabinet waiting to be filled, but they did participate in the first iteration of the European Cup when they were invited to take part as champions of Saarland. Saarbrücken last competed in the Bundesliga in 1993, and since then, they've made their way down to the regional leagues and didn't get promoted back to 3 Liga until 2020. But this is your opportunity to take charge of a 3rd tier team and guide them all the way back to the top flight before trying to win Saarbrücken their first major trophy in German football at least. Another lower league adventure awaits you at MSV Duisburg, where the Zebras, as they are affectionately known, have lost in no fewer than 4 German Cup finals. Added to that heartbreak, they are another founder member of the Bundesliga, and in its inaugural season, they almost won the title, eventually finishing 2nd, narrowly missing out behind winners Köln. You would think that 2nd place would qualify Duisburg for European competition, but in the early days of the Bundesliga, European qualification was given out on invites rather than on merit, and their spot was awarded to 14th place Hertha instead. Those cup final defeats obviously don't show in their trophy cabinet, but the most recent was only in 2011 when they lost out to Schalke. But could you be the manager that will atone for all of these heartbreaking near misses and finally guide MSV Duisburg back to the top flight and win them their first major honour? But for our final lower league challenge, we're heading back east, this time to Dynamo Dresden and to a club that was one of the most successful in East German football. But last season, they were competing in Bundesliga 2 and they were relegated back down to the bottom playable division for FM23. Following German reunification, Dresden spent 3 seasons in the top flight before being relegated, and they've not been back to the Bundesliga since. This would give you the opportunity to take over a club that are now in the 3rd tier of German football, and you would require 2 promotions before you could retake your place at the top of German football and begin competing for more honours. But we couldn't finish a German edition of the League Lowdown without suggesting the wildcard opportunity of managing top-flight Freiburg, a club who were last season's defeated finalists in the Pokal, as well as finishing in 6th place in the league and qualifying for the Europa League. Despite 2nd-tier success, Freiburg are a club with a trophy cabinet that's waiting to be filled. But they do possess some great infrastructure with superb training facilities, great youth facilities, good academy coaching, and adequate youth recruitment. They play at the Europa Park Stadium that holds almost 35,000 spectators, and the city of Freiburg is based in the beautiful Black Forest region of Germany. And in real life this season, Freiburg are upsetting the odds and competing towards the top of the table. So that completes the League Lowdown guide to Germany. I'm sure you will agree it is a nation bursting with top challenges for FM23 players. And we'll see you very soon when we make another nation the focus of our next League Lowdown.